So a tornado tried spawning directly on top of my house here. And because of the deflector, it stopped and got pushed over there. If you're in a tornado, if you're next to a tornado, you will hear what sounds like branches breaking. That's how you know there's a tornado. That was happening right here. But yeah, as you see, the tornado is now over there. But hello there. Welcome back to TerraFirmaCraft Hardrock. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I was just out collecting, well, a lot of wood. I need a lot more charcoal, and so, yeah, we need to collect wood. I'm going to be turning these sticks we got into these bunches, which we can then turn into bundles, and that just makes the process of getting enough wood to make the charcoal a little bit easier because these can be used instead of logs. We, of course, also have a ton of logs to use, so it doesn't, you know, we got plenty of everything. But yeah, this is what we're doing for now. We're making a bunch of charcoal. We're not going to be picked up by a tornado. And if we look over here, I have started making some progress building the outlines for the buildings. I do need to finish the boardwalk. I've been slowly adding to that. That's what I need more charcoal for, to work the saw to make the lumber so I can make the boardwalk. But I want to get a bit more of the boardwalk done so I can look at the slope so I can figure out the slope I want the buildings at also. Oh, and I did also make up 2 more tools, a new pick and a new shovel, since we had just about destroyed our last ones with all the work we had to do to clear out the area. I'm going to get back to this, and I'll bring it back in when we have a bit more progress. That's a satisfying sound. Alright, we got a little bit of progress done. If this looks familiar at all, it's because I used the same sort of design when I helped make the V3 server a fair while back. But we've got, well, slabs here, and then we've got full blocks for now here with the horse fence, because I like how the horse fence looks. Now, the question is, do I want to leave these as full slabs or turn them into, if I can get the angle right, stairs? Resource-wise, it costs exactly the same. The fence is a little floating over the point there, but I think it looks better than just the full block. And we can't really use slabs on this side, but we can do a slab there. And then connecting these, we'd have to do like a stair back there. But that's something to think about if I want a bit of a lip or not. And then also, I'm going to have to find locations here where I feel comfortable doing a path down to the sand. So you can walk from the boardwalk to the sand down there. Now, for now, it is all the green sand. I've been thinking the sawdust flooring kind of looks like sand, especially on the map. And you can stack this. I don't have it on me. I did show this a few episodes ago. But you can stack it like snow does. So we could make, if we turned this whole area into this sawdust, we could then add little mounds and whatnot using this method instead of it just being block and then new block. We can give it a bit of a gradient, make it look a little more natural and uniformed. Well, not quite uniformed, but we won't have the situation where you can see the block underneath it if you can pile up the sand, kind of like how the snow piles up like this. You know, you get that nice little transition. I think I might be doing that instead of having to go clear all the white sand out from over here and go find more white sand or yellow sand. And yeah, if we just go with the sawdust, I'm getting tons of it. Just making the wood for all of this, that just might make it easier. The sawdust in there isn't going to stay. It's just there to kind of help clean up the snow while I'm working in the little stalls. Now, for the buildings, that's what these little stalls are for now. The idea is, well, they're each going to have a different facade on the front. And what I'm thinking is, instead of having to go out and get all the resources I need to make this whole building out of terracotta, be it white or whatnot, and then this whole building out of birch, we use the dolomite bricks for the inner walls and the back for, you know, the times I build the back. I'm not quite agreeing, but I am trying to put backs on buildings. And then just put the facade being whatever we actually want, be it, like I said, terracotta, wood, whatnot. That way I'm not having to invest tons of resources into the front, well, into the whole build, when the front's really the only part you're going to be seeing. We get plenty of dolomite bricks, so we get plenty of dolomite chunks. I mean, this whole area is dolomite. As I'm clearing this out, I'm going to get a bunch more dolomite. So getting dolomite for this isn't really going to be an issue, so using that will probably make my life easier. But, yeah, we've made some good progress. It's only taken 240 days, and it's finally starting to shape up. What I should focus on next is finishing this first building here. I mentioned last episode I want to turn this into a storage hut. And that way I can start moving stuff in there. Then maybe just turn this hut for now into my house. So I can move out from up there. And then I can move like the forge and whatnot into the next one over. The idea is everything is going to be in these buildings that are going to be the boardwalk, right? The shops along the boardwalk. And we might throw an actual stall or so on this portion here, because you do occasionally have shops that are on the wood. Usually they're very light shops, you know, think like a carnival kind of pop-up shop. I know at the Point Pleasant boardwalk, there's the Coors Brothers ice cream, which is like on the wood, as opposed to the actual shops, which are on the edge of the boardwalk. So yeah, we're probably going to do something like that here or there. But you're starting to get the idea, hopefully, of what I'm planning. And in the meantime, I found a bunch of nice pictures of the Wildwood boardwalk that I can use for inspiration. Obviously, I'm not going to be recreating any specific shop, but I'm going to be using it more as a, well, like I said, inspiration on what to build. Eventually, this wood will run all the way to here. I'm just filling in over the void right now with the wood to make navigating the boardwalk easier while I plan everything else out. Yeah, so this is the next part to get filled in. But we are making some progress. Let's go back to this. I need that. If I do it before I put the fences down, it's a bit easier. Unless, you know, the snow decides it wants to layer on top as I'm working. And then for like the corners there, what we're going to have to do is hope it auto connects. Yeah, okay. The nice thing about the McCall's fences is they do those nice bends. I don't need to put one there and then have a sharp corner. They auto connect on the diagonal. So you actually get nice diagonals. And it like I said, it looks nice. Well, the snow is making it hard to see what I'm doing. So, and I'm getting hungry and cold. So I'm going to go eat, warm up, and then come back and continue working. I'm also slowing down because I'm getting cold, I think. I always found as a interesting little side effect of a tornado that you can see the path it took by all the grass it cleared out. Fortunately, did not appear to have cleared out the wolves over there. So, yeah, gotta be careful. But we've been out here collecting clay. I've been collecting a lot of it. I've got to go cook it. Well, cook it down. I have to go turn it into more terracotta so I can continue working on the buildings. So we're just running out here finding all the clay. Unfortunately, because of the tornado, all the ethereum ferns, yeah, they're all gone. So I was only able to find this patch of clay because of that one flower. But we found quite a bit otherwise, so it's not that big of a deal. Meanwhile, I just gotta be careful I don't get too close to those wolves, because they will come chasing after me. And they do not respect my name as Arkwolf. They think I'm just Blunch. Well, that's a surprise. Just dug up clay, and I found kimberlite. Just randomly out here. We, of course, cannot mine that. That requires black steel, and I don't even have steel. Not that diamonds have that much of a use. But, hey, that's cool to find. Am I going the right way? I am. What can we use kimberlite for? Obviously, we can use the powder for any of the different items that require gem powder. But the actual diamond, cut diamond, gliders, constructor's wand, that could be useful. Ultimate energy cube, armor upgrades, higher end stuff, jukebox, armor trims. Okay. Surprisingly, not all that much. Mostly endgame stuff. I don't know, you think that's enough terracotta? Either way, we're going to be making a bit of dye. If it gets hot enough. There we go. So that's boiling up. We're making some white dye, which we can then toss into this barrel along with some terracotta so we can dye it white. If we wanted to make red terracotta or any other terracotta, we pretty much do it the exact same way. Just need to toss it in a barrel. Well, we have to make it white terracotta first, but then we can dye it any color we want. We just got to make the dye. So I'm going to be using quite a bit of terracotta. I've put a roof on that first building. We're almost ready to start moving everything in. I've actually put in a bunch of chests, so we're almost there. Just want to get this going, because this will take a bit of time. And yes, I've got a lot of damage. Terracotta is hot, and I accidentally picked up some while I was cooking it in the forge, which I'm going to have to move the forge. And, yep, burned myself. And of course, all the damage went straight to the head. There we go. Got a bucket of dye, so we just toss that in there. And we seal it, and it's real quick, just 1 minute. Of course, you don't use that much dye per terracotta. It's 25 millibuckets. We just made a 1,000 millibuckets, so that's what, 40? Well, to be fair, it's not enough to do a whole lot down there, but it's enough to get started. And dye is easy enough to make. You just need flowers and you know how to get white dye. There we go. So the actual entrances to the shops are kind of big and open. Most of them are going to be open except for like the one that's going to be a house. You know, the house is going to be closed up because I need to keep it insulated. But for these ones that are shops, yeah, we can just leave them open kind of like this. And we'll decorate a bit more. I'll make up some of the different terracotta roofs. And they're not going to be matching the walls. So, like, I'm not going to put a normal terracotta against this one. I'll use one of the brighter ones. And, you know, Maybe red will go on this one. I'll try and mix and match. But you hopefully see what we're going with, and then wood on top, maybe a marquee here or there. See what we can get done. We might have to, now that I think about it, make sure this is a block higher, because we're going to come up to here with a half slab. Means we're probably going to put a half slab there. And that would make this only 1.5 tall, and that's not big enough. That's not high enough to get in. So we'll probably have to keep these doorways 3 tall normally, so that we can have the half slabs come right up to it. And then I've got to go make a whole ton of lanterns. The unfinished lantern part is pretty easy. It's just 1 ingot per. So what we can actually do is melt down that bismuth bronze anvil and turn that into 14 bronze lamps. What we're then going to have to do, though, is make a bunch of lamp glass. And this is going to require making the jack. We have the paddle, we have the saw, and we have the blowpipe. So we're going to have to actually do more glass processing. So I'm going to have to... I'll show you this when we get to it. It's not going to be today. But I did go over all that in a video I did like a year ago on the glass making for TerraFirmaCraft 1.20. So if you're curious, I can link that again. And you can check that out if you need a guide on making glass. I'd mentioned putting wood roofing over some of these, over the, entrances as awning. And then I remember there's actually awning in McCall's. These are expensive. 1 cloth becomes 2 carpet, and each single yawning takes 3. So I don't know how feasible that's going to be. But that is an option to go for instead. And you can kind of see where I'm going here. I'm going to turn this into the forge in the bellows room. This is going to be the new house. And this is the first storage room. Just got to put roofs on everything. Have I mentioned how much I hate having insomnia? Yeah, I laid in bed for about 5 hours last night. Didn't sleep a wink. Anyway, I am actually going to call it an end here for today. It's a little bit shorter of an episode, but it is also 9 a.m. I haven't slept, and this video has to go up in 7 hours? Yeah. Anyway, we have moved everything over here. Just about. The house is very bare bones, but we've got our bed, we've got our food, we've got our oven, our forge, and bloomery are over here. Our casting basins. Most of our ore. Well, that's not ore. That's croquettes. I almost said biscuits. I've got a biscuit sitting next to me. And then, yeah, all of our bulk storage. So, we're coming along. I'm happy with how this is looking. I still have a lot more to do. But I'm happy. I have to figure out how I'm going to get enough cotton or silk to make all these carpets for all the awning. But, 1 hurdle at a time. Until then, though, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've all had a wonderful day. Thank you to my channel members for your support, and I'll see you next time. Later.